for the Koren Talmud Bavli. Today we're going to be looking at a sugya in Berakhot, Daf Yud Zayin. Here is the page on the Vilna side, on Yud Zayin and Aleph. I've highlighted the part that we're going to be doing, both the Gemara and Rashi. But we're actually going to start on the English side of the Daf. The translation that I'm going to offer you is close to what you're going to see on the right side in English. Generally speaking, when working with the Koren Talmud Bavli, as best as we can, the Hebrew words or the Aramaic words are translated directly in block print, and then when there is a need to add a little bit in order to make the sentences work, so you'll find that in the regular print. So the Gemara here starts with Margala Bifumaihu D'Rabbanan D'Yavne. If you look down the daf, you'll see that this is one of a series of Margala Bifumaihus. Here we have Margala Bifume D'Abaye. Underneath, we have Margala Bifume D'Rava, which is translated as Rava was wont to say. I would prefer to translate it as Margala Bifumaihu D'Rabbanan D'Yavna, that the rabbis of Yavna offered, the sages of Yavna offered a pearl of wisdom, Margala, from the word Margalit, like a pearl. Margala Bifumaihu D'Rabbanan D'Yavna. Ani birya v'chaveri birya. I am God's creature, God's creation, and my counterpart, my fellow, is also God's creation. Ani malachti ba'ir, v'hu malachto ba'sadeh. I, and here we're talking, the sages speaking, I who learn Torah, my work is in the city, my fellow's work is in the fields. Ani mashkim limlachti, v'hu mashkim limlachto. I awake in the morning to do my work, he awakes in the morning to do his work. Kishem shehu eino mitgader bimlachti, kach ani eini mitgader bimlachto. Just as he does not presume to do my work, I do not presume to do his work. V'shema tomar ani marbe v'hu mam'it. Perhaps you will say that I do much and he does little. Shaninu, we learned, echad hamarbe ve'echad hamam'it, ubilvad sheyichaven libo lashamayim. That whether one does much or one does little, the main thing is that he should have his heart towards heaven. So this is pretty much a direct translation of the Gemara. We're going to switch to the Vilna page, which will make a little bit larger. And we're going to, with the help of Rashi, we are going to examine this further. So here we have Margala Bifumayo D'Rabbanan D'Yavne. As Rashi says, Margala Bifume Davar Zeh Ragil Bifiv. This is what he was wont to say, as you saw the translation earlier in the English. So the particular thing we're looking at is Ani birya v'chaveri birya. I am God's creation, as is my fellow. Ani malachti ba'ir v'hu malachto ba'sadeh. My work is in the city, while his work is in the fields. Rashi explains, Ani ha'osek b'Torah birya ani. I am God's creation. I who study Torah, I am God's creation. V'chein chaveri am ha'aretz Briyahu. Similarly, my fellow, who is an Am Haaretz, in the language of the Gemara that Rashi is using, Am Haaretz means a simpleton, a simple person. He too is God's creation. Ani malachti ba'ir, Rashi says, kilomar, nocham malachti mimlachto. My work is easier than his work. Kishem shehu eino mitgader bimlachti, says the Gemara, kach ani eini mitgader bimlachto. Rashi explains that mitgader mitgadel litfos umanuti. As we saw before, he does not try to claim the work that I'm doing. The Gemara concludes, Vishema tomar arni marbe v'hu mam'it. Perhaps you will say, I do much and he does little. Shaninu, echad hamarbe v'echad hamam'it, uvilvad shichavein libo lashamayim. We learned whether one does much or one does little, the point is that he should have in his heart to God. When it says shaninu, is like saying tanin, a shin and tuf switch between Hebrew and Aramaic. So shaninu is like taninu, like tanan. This appears in a Tanaitic source, and in fact, the little star there sends us to the side where we see that this is actually appears in Menachot, Daf Kuf Yud. The person who gave us that information is the Mesaras Hashas, Rav Yoshua Boaz, who added not only the Mesaras Hashas, which cross-references between different Gemarot, but also the Torah Or, which gives you the source in Tanakh, and the Ein Mishpat Ner Mitzvah, which will give you the source in the Rambam or in the Shulchan Aruch. In any case, so let's see what Rashi does with this, where Rashi explains also what exactly we gain from this Gemara in Menachot. But perhaps even more importantly, Rashi says, Vishema tomar hadin imo she'eno mitgader b'mlachti. Perhaps you'll say that he is correct in not trying to take my position in studying Torah. She'ilu hayat tofes umanuti, had he in fact taken on Torah study, lo hayalo leiv patuach laharbot b'Torah k'moti. Perhaps he recognizes that he is deficient and that he would not be open or intelligent enough to study as much Torah as I do. V'hayam mam'it ve'ein lo sachar. And he would feel that he's studying little Torah, and he would not receive appropriate reward. Shaninu, sheyesh lo sachar la mam'it kamo la marbe. That in fact, we learned that it makes no difference that the person who does little receives the same reward as the person who does much. Ubilvad shechavein libo lashamayim. As long as he has the proper intent towards God. And Rashi points out that this comes from that Gemara in Menachot that we saw, Ve'etzel korbanotu b'menachot bisofa. That is the very end of Masechet Menachot. Again, our friend the Mesaras Hashat says that it's Daf Kuf Yud in Menachot, where the reference is to how much a person brings korbanot. The important thing is that he has proper intent. So, we've seen the Gemara both with the English translation and here with the Nikud and Pisuk punctuated and with the vowels. It's something that you should review until, it's a short piece, and it's something you should review until you feel that you have mastered it. But what's important is also to think about this particular statement. Is Rashi's approach the only approach that you can imagine? Can you imagine another approach? Is Rashi's approach the simplest approach? Take a few minutes, review the Gemara, think about those questions, and perhaps email your teacher. And this Gemara will be the Gemara that will be reviewed in Shiur tomorrow, and the questions that you raise will be the basis for discussion from that. Again, Shalom Berger for the Koren Talmud Bavli.